One day, Western genre. One day you will be theatrically appreciated again, and I'll be there when it finally happens. Horizon, an American Saga Chapter 1 is a brand new 2024 Western film directed by Kevin Costner, starring as well Kevin Costner. And I am a huge fan of Westerns. Probably because when I was growing up, that's like the main genre my dad would watch. It was either westerns or war films. So I was kind of conditioned into liking westerns, but I love westerns. I am excited every time a western comes out, and I saw the trailers for this, and I thought, hey, hell yeah. Western starring Kevin Costner, directed by Kevin Costner, written by Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner spent his own money getting this made, so I was really excited for it. This is something that Kevin Costner is very, very passionate about. He left Yellowstone, which is probably one of the most, if not the most successful show in recent years. So, yeah, I figured, yeah, Kevin Costner's got something to say with this. So I went and saw it with my dad, actually. And we walked out of the movie feeling pretty much the same. So let's go ahead and get into this review, starting off with the good. And there's plenty that I actually really loved in this movie. First of all, the performances are phenomenal. This is a stacked cast. So there's too many great performances to go over. So I'm just going to go over a few of the highlights, in my opinion. First of all, Kevin Costner, obviously. He's great here. Kevin Costner is one of my favorite actors of all time. And I thought that he was great. He actually doesn't have as much screen time as some of the other characters in this movie, but he was really good when he was on screen. He was a badass. I love Kevin Costner here. Then you have who I personally would call the main character of this movie, and that's Sienna Miller's character. I really loved her performance. I love the arc that she goes through. I'm really excited to see where they go with her character in Chapter 2 and beyond, if those ever get released at this point. But I'll get to that later. But I really liked her here. I really liked her character arc. I really liked the chemistry she had with a lot of the other characters she interacts with. And like I said, really excited to see where they go with her character. Then you got Michael Rooker in this movie, and I thought that he was great as well. He's part of probably the most prominent story in this movie, along with Sienna Miller, and I thought that he was great as well. He has a bit of an Irish accent, which kind of threw me off because I'm used to Michael Rooker just having that gravelly cowboy accent that he's known for. But I thought he was great. I really loved his performance. He even had a few funny moments here, and just great to see. So yeah, I really liked Michael Rooker here. Owen Crow-Shu, who is an actor I don't think I've seen before. He is a great character in this movie. He's kind of an antagonist, but I feel like he plays the character so well to where he's kind of an antagonist, but he's also a little sympathetic in his antagonism, and I really liked his character. I'm really excited for his arc in future films in this franchise, again, if they get released. But loved his character here, so he's one of the highlights I want to talk about. And the final performance I want to talk about as Jamie Campbell Bower. And I don't think I've seen him in anything. I am one of the people that has not seen Stranger Things. I know he's in it though. But his performance in this movie is so unsettling. If you've played Red Dead Redemption 2, he kind of feels like Micah Bell from Red Dead Redemption 2. That's how intense his character was. He's more of the pure evil type character that we need an antagonist in a Western film, and we get that with this character. Again, he doesn't have a whole bunch, but he gives a very intense performance. You get this scene where he's walking up a hill just talking to Kevin Costner. Such a great scene. Probably the best scene in the movie, in my opinion. And aside from the performances, like I said, just about everybody's great in this movie. Those are just the main ones I want to talk about. Aside from the performances, you get some absolutely gorgeous cinematography here. I mean, it's crazy. I'm gonna see. You're gonna see a lot of people talking about the cinematography in this movie. That's just how beautiful it is. The landscapes we get, it's breathtaking. Honestly, this is the star of the show right here, is the cinematography and the camera work. The score is beautiful as well. And Kevin Costner's direction is really ambitious and really a lot of fun, in my opinion. And I love the action sequences here. They are really, really thrilling, really fun to watch. There's some sequences that are a little too depressing for my taste, especially one of the opening sequences. If you've seen the movie, you probably know the scene I'm talking about. But I really love the action sequences here. And the story is interesting, it's ambitious. And there's a few of the stories that go on in this movie. I really liked them. Specifically, the stories that involved Kevin Costner's character and Sienna Miller's character. Those were the highlights of the movie, in my opinion. But that's about all for the good. On to the bad. And there's a few things I'm not a fan of here. First of all, it's just the scale of this thing is huge. I mean, you got 5 or 6 stories at least, going on all at once. And it gets a little hard to follow by the midpoint of this movie because you're introduced to all these new characters, all these new settings, all these new plot lines, and they keep jumping from one to the other to the next one all throughout this 3-hour runtime. And it gets a little hard to follow, in my opinion. Some people might have been able to follow it a bit better. But there's just so much going on that I feel like this would have benefited better as a TV series. Make it just about the Old West and have one episode be about each different story as a miniseries. A 5-episode miniseries could have been fantastic that way. But that's not a huge deal, but it's still something that I really have to point out. And also, there's maybe 1 or 2 storylines that probably could have been cut out, but then again, we don't have the full scale of this franchise yet, so maybe they're all going to tie in together, but right now they have no signs of tying in together outside of one character in the Luke Wilson story being related to Sienna Miller's character in her story. But yeah, that's just something that really I have to talk about. And then there's just the fact that this movie is part 1 of 4. And originally part 2 was supposed to release in August. That got pulled from release. We don't know when it's going to come out, if it's going to come out, what the conditions are going to be for its release. It's really dragging this movie down, because as much as I did enjoy it for the most part, the fact that we don't know when or if part 2 is going to come out, it leaves a big question mark. I'm like, what is the future of this franchise? Am I even going to have to bother rewatching this movie if they don't release part 2 through 4? But that's about all for the bad. On to the final thoughts. I did enjoy this movie a lot more than a lot of other people did. But it's still got a lot of issues. There's potential, but it's a little too ambitious for its own good. Horizon, An American Saga, Chapter 1 is a flawed and ambitious film. I love the Western style, but there's a lot of issues for me. and I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. So that was my thoughts on Horizon Chapter 1. Let me know down in the comments what you thought about this movie if you have seen it. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.